Hi, my name is Vanessa Butz. I'm the CEO and co-founder of District Technologies. We have a tenant engagement platform that we sell to real estate owners, property managers, and companies individually to enhance their office experience, build communities, and connect people with what they're really interested in and love. And so I'm going to talk today about digitalizing real estate, but through user experiences. I think a lot of people are worried, or a lot of even, anyone in the whole world, when you think about technology, is like, oh no, robots are going to take over the world and we're all going to lose our jobs. And actually, I would argue the reason we are here today, at least my company, is to take away the friction, like what Vanessa says, fantastic word, friction, to enable people to focus on what really matters and not do the sort of annoying administrative tasks that we can automate for them. So just a quick sort of, this is our mission, I guess. We believe smart cities start with smart buildings. We're in buildings all day, every day, and people forget about it, actually. My background is in building large co-working spaces. I come from more of the startup world into real estate, and it kind of shocked me how backwards some of our building technologies still are, and this is what we're on a mission to change. So we believe every building will be connected in a mobile-first digital platform that focuses on the user experience, on the people in the buildings, and that's what we're really excited about. And so a little video. This is Yotel in New York. I especially like the music. Start rapping on it. As just an example, it's basically like a super connected hotel that you can do everything yourself. So you walk in, you can check in with a computer, you can get your keys, you can leave your bag with this fancy robot, and it does everything for you. And everyone's like, oh no, they're not going to have any jobs left for people, right? This is what it looks like. So on the left, you've got your check-in. I actually stayed there a year ago or so, just to check it out. And then on the right, you have your robots. And on the left, you have your computers, right? No people. Damn it, we're all going to lose our jobs. You can even order your concierge services through this little bot that comes up to your room. You don't even need to speak to anyone. Fantastic, right? People that are maybe more, like to be a bit more socially awkward, like me, maybe are not into it. But you can get everything with a computer. Great. Is this the future of how we're going to live and work and play in cities? Well, actually, if you look a little bit closer, essentially, no, it's filled with staff. You can check in when you want to check in, and you can talk to people when you want to talk to people. So it just reduces the headache of waiting in the queue. You never have to queue. There's always a place to get your key, and you're not sort of stuck behind a very manual process. Everything is automated, so it helps them save time and money, but it creates a better user experience for people checking into the hotel. And so, what especially my company, but what we believe in also the future cities catchboat see as the future is, yes, we're connected more than ever before, and technology is a key driver of that, but technology is only the enabler, so we want to go back to the human experience and make it more human than not, right? It's actually, we live in these big cities and we feel very isolated. So back to, I think, what has been a common trend in this conference. And something that I like talking about, Tom Hulme from Google Ventures, he was a partner there, did a great TED Talk, if you haven't watched it, on the difference between a desire and a design path. It's a trend in user experience, which is basically like, okay, people have designed cities or products or technology for a certain experience, or planners or councils. So here you have the design path, which is for bikes to like get off their bike and push it around to slow down, right? Why else would we put these barriers in the middle of the park? Actually, what people are going to do is the desired path. Like, what am I actually going to do? I'm not going to get off and get around. I'm going to drive around. And so the real path, which should have been paved, is this little mud thing on the side of the path, on the side of the barrier, because we're not going to follow rules. Communities and cities are going to build their own paths where they see the shortcuts. And everything we're trying to enable in buildings and in cities is actually like an example of that. So can we reduce the friction and make it easier for people to go around? Brasilia was one of his examples in the TED Talk, which I love. This was a city built in the sort of prime era, I think it was 50s, prime time of planes and streets and cars, and we were just going to use cars to get everywhere and planes to fly around. They even designed it in a way that looks a little bit like a plane. And they have these huge roads that go through the center. And as you can see on this image, actually what happened is they built these roads. These are huge highways. People live on either side of this highway with this park. And they built it for cars, but what do people do? They still need to cross these roads somehow. It's one of the most dangerous paths to cross in the world, because there's no pedestrian paths. So they built these streets with the idea that everyone would just drive, and actually you see in between these desire paths of what people have actually done, and it's extremely dangerous because people get killed on these roads trying to cross 10 lanes of highway to get to the other side. There's no bridges. So, thinking about design, what we thought originally, we make assumptions, we build things without testing them, and then people actually hack that system to build it the way they need it, is not a great way of designing things. So as you can see here, you have to almost cross about 20 lanes or more to get across this main city center sort of transport link. And so the opposite way around, which is what we're doing a lot of work with real estate owners and big companies trying to say, just test something, iterate it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to roll it out across your entire portfolio. Choose one building, test that community experience, and iterate and go from there. It's a sort of concept of launching to learn. So let's do something, and let's understand that software can be improved every 2 weeks. Our developers work in 2-week sprints. Other companies work in 1 week sprints. Real estate owners and city planners typically make decisions that take 3 years. They have 300 consultants, and then they're supposed to last for 30 years. Well, why can't we make it a bit more iterative? So if you look at this example, this is actually a university in California. They built, I missed this picture, but essentially they built all these buildings around this park, and then they watched the people walk, and then they paved over the way people walk across this park, which is actually a much more brilliant way of paving roads and parks. And so, really what we're saying is design for real needs at the lowest friction, take away the user experience problems, and allow technology to be an enabler when it has a better end goal for the users. So technology is only an enabler. There's actually 3 user experiences replaced by technology so that people can focus on what they really want, so that the people managing our offices and managing our buildings are not stuck with admin, but can focus on events and services and fun things that people actually like doing and feeling more connected. So these are just 3 really small examples that we work around in my business to help our clients create a better experience for the people in their companies or offices or buildings. And I think that can also be translated to big cities on a larger, larger perspective. But we're starting with buildings because that's, I think, the beginning of smart cities. And the first example is building access. I don't know how many of you have walked into an office building or a tower. I mean, I certainly have, where I had to queue. I then get up to the reception and say, hey, I have a meeting with Mr. So-and-so from company this. And they're like, They look at you like, okay, who are you? They call upstairs, they check your name. It takes 10, 15 minutes. I need to get Central London Tower, especially when I meet big real estate funds. I need to get there 15 minutes before my meeting to be on time. And then maybe I'm lucky I can connect with the TV. Usually takes another 10 minutes, right? You'll be there almost half an hour before your meeting to be on time. With our tech, we've basically created a seamless experience that if you're a member of the building, you can walk straight in. If you're not a member, someone can book a meeting room. They get sent an invite with a calendar attachment, a visitor pass, which pops up like an airline ticket. So airports, I don't know about you all, but I love checking in advance. And I have my little airport pass ticket, and I've got my passport, and I can just walk straight in if I don't need to queue. Fantastic experience. You know, when I was younger, we had to wait in queues forever to check in and give our baggage away. Now it's just automated. Great, people can actually focus on what's really important, making a better airline experience. So the same concept we've basically copied for office buildings. We think anyone should be able to register a visitor, or if you're a real member of the building, you should just be able to walk in. And if you want to talk to someone like in the hotel experience, you can. They're still there. We don't replace them. But we allow those people to focus on the services, the amenities, and so the fun things. Who else has had this sort of experience trying to book a meeting room? So whether they're speaking with a receptionist or whether they're trying to do it themselves, if it's your own office or if it's a co-working space. Certainly I'm working in a co-working space right now with my team in London, and I'm trying to get them to buy our app because every time I try and book their meeting room, it's just a disaster. So why can't I just seamlessly book a space and then walk in and then it just works, right? These are like, the moon landing happened. Why can't TVs connect? It's a whole nother story. We'll save that for a couple of beers later, but maybe I don't believe in it. Resource bookings, like let's just be able to book things and use spaces. Why, when I walk around the city center, are all these offices empty and usually filled with light? I see one person working there, a whole floor plan is on. When everyone's left the building, why doesn't it just shut itself off automatically? Well, it should, and we're working on it. On top of that, it's all about insights, data. So not only are we wasting money and energy and we're killing our planet by leaving lights on, it's also about saying, okay, when everyone's out of the office, why can't we learn about the experiences that they have during the day and make it better for them? And I'm sort of, again, talking about offices, but the same applies for big residential schemes, and the same applies, I think, if you think of it on a macro level for cities. Why aren't we using certain insights to make it to sort of a feedback loop? So I always say, my CTO says, a smart building is not smart by connecting hardware. Yeah, we can put 1 million sensors into a building. Does it make it smart? Well, what is the definition of smart? For us, the definition of a smart building is bringing the feedback loop from the data to the insights to direct KPIs of what we can actually do to influence people's day tomorrow or next year. And then being able to build better buildings, which will hopefully enable us to build better cities. So unless you take that data and do something with it, it's not very smart. It's not helping anyone. So we're connected more than ever, but what are we doing with all this data? Can we actually create valuable, actionable insights and not have these empty offices filled with lights on everywhere and air conditioning on all over the world? So these are just 3 really quick examples of many different features that we try and bring in together to one dashboard to help our clients make a better experience for the people in their buildings or their companies, but also to save time and money. And at the end of the day, if we can do something nice for people, but also save time and money, that's where the real value is. So really quickly, I don't know how, we don't have a timer here, so I'm assuming I'm good on time. I have 1 more minute. Okay, quickly, this is the list of all the features that we have. We started with community features, and now we're doing lots of smart building tech in terms of energy, occupancy sensors, access. We really think your phone, maybe in the future it won't be your phone, it may be a chip in our ear, but for now, the phone can be your key and your pass to what you need to do in your daily life. And we're kind of far away from that still. The amount of paper I need to fill in and get these visitor passes that are paper, come on. This is technology that's been around for 10 years. It's just about getting it into the buildings and getting it into the cities in the best way. So this is the way it looks like. We have our core platform. Any type of building or office can launch, powered by their own content managers and dashboards. And this is sort of the feedback loop that I wanted to emphasize. I really believe this sort of everything we do in our company is okay, we have this experience, whether it's in your office or at home. We're collecting this data, great. There's many different companies collecting a lot of data. But unless you provide that data in a measurable, actionable KPI base, what is the ROI? What are we spending what are we spending money on for this technology? We've worked with a lot of clients who try to build the fun WeWork style community by building their own tech, by building their own app, or by doing this smart building, connecting sensors. Like I used to consult a company that built the world's smartest building 7 years ago, and yeah, it was great because it had everything connected. But was it really smart? I could open an app and click 10 times to turn the light on and off, or I could click once on the light switch. What do you think people did? They used the light switch because that's the most frictionless user experience. So unless we create a frictionless user experience that collects interesting data, that benchmarks it against KPIs and ROIs to bring that feedback loop to build better buildings and better cities, I feel like we might as well not be spending all this money on connecting things, right? So we really believe in this feedback loop, and that's the definition of making buildings smarter, making communities smarter. And that's what we do in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed the few examples.